Gachagua's warning towards the ODM party against President William Samoei Ruto, who is planning to dismantle the party, seems to be falling in deaf ears, even as Gachagua tries to tell them that everything does not sit well with President William Samoei Ruto. Gachagua now alleges that the president is planning to plant some people in the central committee of the ODM party. This is to make sure that he disintegrates it further, making it a party that has no voice in the national politics. Listen to Rigathi Gachagua.
As we speak, amepanga mkutano huko Mombasa ya ODM na anataka wale mawaziri wanne, yule Joho, yule Oparanya, yule Badi na yule Wadai, ati wawekwe katika Central Management Committee ya ODM, ndio he can use them to manage ODM. That is wrong. These are public servants. They have no business being involved in a political party. And I want to advise these ODM people, please be careful. I've tried to warn you, but you don't listen. I know this man. Amemwambia ati atajenga SGR kutoka Naivasha mpaka Malaba. Ni uongo. When you meet him in Mombasa, ask him to show you the contract with a commencement date and a completion date. He will not show you because it does not exist. And even if he produces one, you must give us to verify because it will be fake. There is no such project. I have seen ametangaza ati atajenga 500 kilometers of ring road in Nyanza. I have looked at the budget estimates for 2026-2027 financial year.
Well, as usual, we debunk these issues whether they are true or false. Now, this is not the first time Rigathi Gachagua is trying to warn the ODM about William Samoei Ruto, making sure that he breaks down ODM. And that is true because as it is, William Samoei Ruto has managed to make sure that ODM is operating under his feet. How does that happen? Remember, the Secretary General, who is recognized by law, Edwin Sifuna, did say he doesn't know who is actually funding the rallies that ODM is handling, since no monies have been withdrawn from the ODM's party accounts. It is highly suspected that it is President William Samoei Ruto funding these party activities. But now at the end of it, we got to ask this very vital question. There is no free lunch, as we always know. What does President William Samoei Ruto stand to gain in terms of supporting the rallies of ODM? And the monies that the government always allocate to political parties has not yet been disbursed to ODM party. So it's like I'm giving you with his hand, but I'm denying you with his hand so that you could toe the line. Just like a dog, it pays allegiance to the person feeding it. So ODM has been reduced to that. And it is through that method that William Ruto will be able to infiltrate candidates of UDA party, the ruling party, into the ODM strongholds. That is the reason as to why you saw Gladys Wanga and the likes of Junet Mohammed now leaving the issue of they want power from the famous tunataka power from Oburu Odinga to we want to be respected. But how will you be respected while actually you don't have numbers? You are simply trying to force a direction unto the people, whereas what is in the people's heart is different. That is one way that William Samoei Ruto is using to kill ODM. And that is why now there are two fractions, Linda Mwananchi and the Linda Ground. Now, what Linda Mwananchi has been able to harness is the power to realize is aligning with the people's volitions, aligning with the people's grievances, aligning with what the people want. And that is how they have been able to win hearts, not only in Nyanza, but around the nation, despite various attempts by the regime to thwart their rallies. Gachagua does not end over there in terms of fighting this regime and rebuking this Ruto's regime. He has also touched on National Speaker Moses Masika Wetangula, calling him he is acting as a youth winger of the ruling party, yet he should be very neutral as the Speaker of the National Assembly. All he does is to rubber stamp all the things that the president wants to be passed. We could say the National Assembly has been held captive. Let us listen to Gachagua on this.
Harambe, mimi naambika kuna mtu naitwa Wetangula ameharibu bunge la kitaifa, anataka ati kusomea Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Wewe Wetangula umefanya bunge kuwa organ ya UDA. Wewe mwenyewe tabia yako ni kama youth winger wa UDA. Bunge la kitaifa ndio inapitisha maneno ya kuumiza wa Kenya. Bunge la kitaifa imekuwa bunge ambaye haipewi heshima na mtu yeyote. Kabla uongeleshe Rais Uhuru Kenyatta kwenda tengeneza mambo ya bunge la kitaifa.
Well, is it a lie or is it factual? Many a times we've seen draconian bills, draconian laws passing through the floor of National Assembly without interjection, and if with interjection, minimal force, because most of these MPs are now into the pockets of one President William Samoei Ruto. And as you know, dogs pay allegiance to the persons feeding them. So, as a metaphor, I would liken thy previous statement or my latter statement to the members of parliament who forgot that they are representing the people and now started focusing on their greed, on making their tummies full. Well, as Gachagua puts it, Moses Masika Wetangula is acting as a youth winger for UDA and President William Samoei Ruto. This was a cause of those aligned to the regime of the day throwing tantrums at the former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and that Rigathi came guns blazing to defend the former. Anyway, he didn't end there without his common slogan of Harambee, one term, and fagia all the traitors, all the bad leaders. And this is how it went down in Kajiado County.
Hapa Kemana, hapa Kajiado South. Unasemaje? Ati munasemaje? Kemana munasemaje? Ati Kemana munasemaje? Ati Kemana munasemaje? Ati munasemaje? How many one time? Harambee!
Great. After this, what does the president stand to gain by killing ODM? Well, its power, its dominance will go for good, and he will have an opportunity to reinforce his party and make sure that the only choice these people have is UDA. But one thing the president is forgetting is that there is one front of ODM called Linda Mwananchi that does not only harbor the ODM party members, but also has members across other political parties whose ideologies are not aligning with that of the ruling party. In fact, this is a big movement that if they work together with the United Alternative Government, the DCP, Wiper, Eugene Wamalwa, Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, Justin Muturi, Fred Matiang'i, if they too sit down, and they are in talks, by the way, if I'm not wrong, like, Fred Matiang'i said it, Kalonzo Musyoka also confirmed it, that they are in talks with the Linda Mwananchi Front, and they want to come up with a strategy to make sure that they work together. And in this, I see a situation whereby Edwin Sifuna could be deputizing one of the persons who will be elected to represent the opposition as a presidential candidate. That will be a knife or a cutting edge strategy to make sure Ruto becomes a one-term president. What's your take? Give me your thought in the comment section below. If you love content of this nature and you're watching from our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and press the notification button so anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. Ahmed Khalif is my name for the Unscripted Talks here in Dub Radio. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Dub Radio ndio mpango mzima.